Welcome back everyone to this tutorial series of React Native and Mapbox. So we saw on the previous video how we managed to create this route. So we had this stores list and each store have its own coordinates. For example, if we choose store in Chemnitz, we will get the latitude and longitude, and with those coordinates we can determine the path from the user's point, and this point right here, it's getting all its information from the user's current geolocation. So we are getting real data. They are not fake or hard coded, they are real data from my location, let's say, and this one here is the final location. Okay, so we saw two important functions here. We have function make router feature, and its utility is it actually takes an array of coordinates as an input and returns a GeoJSON, and feature representing a route on the map, and it constructs a GeoJSON object with a line string geometry, and also using the provided coordinates to define the route's path. The function returns the generated GeoJSON feature, which can be used to display the route on the map. And the second one, which is the create router line, it's a function, an asynchronous one of course, that is responsible for fetching route directions from the Mapbox API, which is the directions API. It takes a coordinate pair representing the destination point of the route as an input. After making the API request and receiving the response, the function extracts the route coordinates from the JSON data. If there are, of course, valid coordinates available, it uses the make router feature. Okay? And to convert them into a GeoJSON feature and sets the state with this feature. The function gracefully handles errors and logs any encountered issues during the API call or data processing. Okay. So overall, let's say that these functions together provide a convenient way to fetch route directions and visualize them on the map in a GeoJSON format. Okay. So in today's video, we'll be doing, let's say, something which is much more light. We'll actually add a back button here on the map, on the top left position of the map here, and we will be working with this beautiful card, okay, to display the infos that we saw yesterday, like the duration and the distance, etc. And in the next video, we will be setting an icon here of the store as a final destination. Okay, so the final point or the reaching point will have also its own icon. So let's start. So first of all, let's import. Before we start coding, actually I want you to just install this library right here. You just need to install this by typing this line right here, and do not forget that you need to install this one right here, okay, because you need that in order to make it work, or you will be facing some errors. Okay, it's easy. Once you finish that, import that library right there. Let's say colorful card. I couldn't detect it. Okay, no problems. Colorful card from at freaky. Here it is, colorful card. Okay, so this is the first step. It's just to import this one. So the next thing we actually want to do is, I don't want to display the card immediately, but I just want it to appear once once the maps finishes loading and we have our right directions. Okay, it won't be very beautiful to just display it like this instantly, so I want to display an activity indicator, which is the spinner. Okay, and once we have our route directions and all the data were set correctly and properly, we will be displaying this beautiful card right here. Okay, as simple as that. So for that, we need actually to do two things. We need to import the navigation, because we'll be using it for the back button. So for that we can do use navigation. Just type any right here for the moment. Okay, perfect. The next thing is, let's go right here, and we need a variable called do we have duration? No, not yet. So we need to do use state. Okay, let's see the snippet right here. Okay, so we need the distance. We need to set the variable of that we are getting from that API into this variable right here. So we'll be using set distance, and then we'll be using the distance when we want to display something. Okay, so let's put here simply no, and okay, let's type here another use state. What else? We need the duration. Okay, and this will also be a null. Okay, what else? We need the loading state, set loading, and it will be true. Okay, so did we import the use state? Yes, everything is good right now. Okay, so what we need to do, so logically first need to get or to store the data that we are getting from the data that we saw yesterday that displays the duration and the distance and everything. Okay, so for that we need to go where is it? It's here. Okay, after the console.log data, which displays all the infos here. Okay, so we just need these data. So we need the distance, the duration, and for the moment, maybe in the future video, we'll be using this huge array right here, this huge object. Okay, but for the moment, let's just focus on these two right here. Okay, so what we can do right here is simply set the distance, and we directly need to all data dot distance. Okay, and then we need to do, because we are getting here from we are getting it in milliseconds, I guess. Yeah, so we need to divide it, we need to convert it into hours, so we divide it on 1000, and let's type here point to fixed, and let's say 2. Okay, the same thing goes for set duration. We'll repeat the same thing. Okay, so we'll be having data dot duration, not 1000, but this will be 3600. Okay, don't need this. Perfect. Good. So we just dealt with these two right here for the moment. Now we need to do what we can do, or what can we do with this loading thing. So logically, if we don't have data, we will be displaying an activity indicator. So normally the state will be false, and if we got some data, of course it will be true. So then we will be displaying that colorful card. Okay, so right here, just right here, we can do set loading, it will be false, And here too we can also set loading false. Okay, simple. So here let's go and where can we put it? Okay, we agreed that this needs to be after the map view or it will have problems because you can pass any other component except from the Mapbox GL inside here, or you'll be facing some issues. So normally we'll be typing everything right before the Mapbox GL.mapView. Okay, so what can we do right here? So the first thing we need to do is let's work on our back bottom. Okay, so we need the touchable opacity because we said on early videos that we don't have a button component on React Native. We have the touchable opacity which replaces the button that we all know. Okay, so what can we have inside in this touchable opacity? Okay, but first let's determine some styles and some stuff. Okay, so for that we can literally type style right here, and we'll be having styles. Let's name it back button simply. Okay, and then we need an unpress here, so when the user clicks on the button it does something. So let's say navigation, and there is a function here called go back. So whenever the user clicks on this touchable opacity, it will go back on the previous screen, which will be home in our case, of course. So perfect. Here we finished with the styling and the basic stuff of the touchable opacity. What we need to do right now is an icon, because if you just paste it like this, you just paste the code, you won't be seeing anything. So we need some sort of icon to make it look much better for the user. Okay, so for that we need to type icon. Did I import it? I need to check first. Okay, sorry, it won't be icon, but I can use, let's say, font awesome, and there is this font awesome 5. Good. So let's go back here. So we'll be having an icon, and what can the name be? Let me think. Let's say arrow left, since it will be on the left side. There is I guess there is a right arrow, right and left. So since it will be a back button, so we need the left one. Okay. So what else? We need also the size, which is important. I'm sorry. And we need the size here. Let's say 24. And the color will be simply white. You can type white, or you can just type like this. Okay. So what else? What else do we need? Okay. So here it's a self-closing tag, of course. Okay, what else? So after that, we need to define our loading. Okay, but first, okay, let's define the loading, the activity indicator. So we said that we have the loading will be true. Okay, so if we don't have data, the loading will be set to false. So it's very easy here. So let's say if loading, it means if loading is true. Okay, we will display let's say okay, here let's say activity. I hope you can import it. Perfect. Activity indicator. We will give it a size of okay, there is large here. Okay, large. And what else? Let's say color will be let's type white, whatever, you can type whatever you want. And this style will be, here it's style, will be, sorry, styles dot, let's name it loading indicator. Perfect. Good. So what else? And then this is in case the data is still loading. We still have no data. So if we don't have data, okay, the activity indicator will be displayed in the map. Okay, we won't be displaying the color card for the moment. Okay, so once we have now this condition right here, once we have the route directions, so once we got our route directions and everything went well, now we will be displaying the colorful card. Okay, so we will type here route directions, and let's say view, and inside the view we'll be having, okay, let's determine first the styles. Okay, my VS Code is lagging a bit, that's why I'm having some issues typing, and I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong with my VS Code. Card container, and inside this view we will be calling our colorful card component, which will be a self-closing tag, but we need to pass some props right here. We will be having the title as the duration, for example, and what else? We can have the value. Okay, so the value, okay, it should be dynamic, it should not be hard-coded. So for that, let's say duration. Okay, and we'll type, for example, hash for hours, for example, something like that, hours or age, or depends what you want to type there. And I guess we have the footer title, which contains okay, let's type here distance, for example, and the footer value. Okay, so the footer value also needs to be dynamic, it cannot be hard-coded. So for that we need to type here distance, and let's say here kilometers, for example. Okay, good. What else we can type here? And finally the icon. Okay, icon image source, which will be require, and I guess assets, and I have icons, and yeah, you can download any icon you want. I downloaded an info icon. Okay, so you can do whatever you want there. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, why this missing attributes? What's missing here? Okay, whatever. What else we can have here? We will be also the style. We need the style too. Okay, so the background color, which I don't know, you can put wherever you want, but I prefer this color because it suits the dark mode or the dark maps. Okay, 495F, here it's 33495F. perfect. Okay, and we can also call onPress here. You can do whatever you want with it. For the moment I'll just leave it empty. Okay, good. So what else? onPress is missing in type. Okay, my VS Code is lagging, so I'll be getting some issues. It will disappear later, so whatever. Okay, so now we need to define our styles. Okay, it disappeared. Okay, that's the issue with my VS Code. That's why I'm suffering, especially in typing, because I don't know which is wrong or right. I need to wait some seconds, which is very weird with this VS Code. Okay, and it actually happened recently. I don't know. So let's first begin with the back bottom. Let's type here back bottom. And what can we have? So we can have the position which will be absolute, top will be 20, left needs to be also 20, the z index will be 1. Again, this is not a styling course. Maybe in the future I'll be much more focusing on this aspect, but that's why I'm trying to skip it. So back, and the main subject of these, or the purpose of this video, is Mapbox, only Mapbox. Maybe in the future I will be doing some sort of full front with React Native, but for the moment let's keep it simple and let's not border radius. Okay, let's say 20, and the padding will be 8. Perfect. So now we need to define the loading indicator style. Okay, so let's say loading indicator. Okay, so what can we have here? Let's say the position also needs to be absolute, the top, let's say 50%, the left 50% too, and finally the z index which needs to be 2. Perfect. Check if I have a typo here, because still lagging, my VS Code is a bit lagging. Okay, good. So now we have the final step is to define the card container styling. Okay, so for that let's type card container, and we'll be having absolute. The position needs to be absolute, top will be 20, right will also be 20, and let's say the z index 1. Okay, so did we forget something? We do have an error here. React Native. So what's wrong with this icon right here? Model React Native is not expressed the icon. Did I mean is import, etc., etc. Ah. Okay, again. Okay, it should disappear right now. Yeah, it's a bit lagging, so that's why I'm not getting an instant response from VS Code. So normally everything is okay. Okay, let's refresh. But first, let me go back. Okay, the best thing we can do is to refresh the whole project, and then we can see the whole results. Okay, it disappeared after seconds. Okay, let's get rid of this warning. Let's choose this one, store in chemnitz, and we have our back button. And okay, so now we have some issues. Why it's displaying in this part of the map? So this is a styling issue. Okay, so where is our colorful card? Okay, so let's. Okay, so let me see. Go back here. Okay, so here we have a typo. It's the index. Okay, let's refresh. Still having the same issue. Okay. So have touchable opacity, and then we have an icon. We have our Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Needs to be closed here. And yeah, I should type. God, my VS Code is very laggy. It's very laggy. Good. So here it is. Everything seems fine. So we have this beautiful, clickable, colorful icon which displays the number of hours. Of course, we chose walking. So from Zwickau to Chemnitz, it will take you 7 hours and 23 minutes. You can just predefine it, predefined again, or you can make it much better. I was rushing. So here the duration is 7 hours and 23 minutes. The distance is literally 36 kilometers. And yeah, so yeah, we are going, and we have this beautiful back button. When you click it, you go back. So yeah, let's try, for example, from my position to Heidelberg, and let's see. You see, it's loading. It's still loading because we still haven't get any infos. So yeah, once we got all our infos, we'll be having this beautiful route right here which goes to Heidelberg. We have, and of course the activity indicator disappears, and this one appears. I mean, this beautiful colorful card. So yeah, as you can see, it's dynamic. It's here, it displays 73 hours and 40 minutes. You can just make it better. Okay, you can play with the styles. I just want to rush a bit, and the distance here is 369 kilometers. Okay, so this is everything for today's video. In the next video, we will be setting an icon for the ending point, or for the destination point, which is our store, and we will be doing some improvements in this map. Maybe we'll go back to 3D maps, and I will show you how to create 3D maps using the Mapbox Studio, and we will see the difference, like using this beautiful route. And yeah, that's all. I hope you learned something, and again, I'm sorry. Yeah, my VS Code is still lagging, and it causes me a lot of problems, especially when typing. So yeah, I hope you learned something new. And again, you can find this code in my GitHub repo. I'll be linking the link in the description, so you can just clone it in case you encountered some issues or something. Okay, so thank you again, and bye.